All right, let's go to Friday night. 2 games on Friday night, including Virginia Tech taking on Miami. We've got the Hurricanes, 19-point home favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. I was kind of thinking all along last week South Florida would be in a spot to maybe challenge and step up and give Miami a scare, but tell you what, Miami, hats off to them. Just very, very impressive. There's no question about that. What they did last week in that game, offensively, they scored at will. Cameron Ward, another phenomenal game, 404 passing yards, lit up the South Florida secondary. Jordan Lyle with over 100 rushing yards, a balanced offense. Isaiah Horton, Xavier Restrepo in the passing attack. I mean, just very, very strong stuff from Miami's offense. And their defense, which I thought could struggle a bit with South Florida, they did give up 303 through the air to the South Florida offense, but there was no run game to speak of whatsoever. That is a really good Miami defensive line. You have to give them their props for completely taking away the run game of South Florida last week. And part of that, too, was South Florida got behind. They couldn't run the football. So the stats for the run defense were skewed a little bit by that. But nevertheless, Miami was absolutely phenomenal in that game, 50-15. They have a beat down over South Florida in that game. We'll see how they fare here against Virginia Tech. A Virginia Tech team coming off a 26-23 loss to Rutgers, a team that got off to a dreadful 16-7 deficit in the first half, rallied in the fourth quarter to tie the game, only to see Rutgers hit a game-winning field goal inside 2 minutes left to walk away with the 26-23 win. Not very impressive from the Virginia Tech defense. They could not stop Kyle Monangai and Samuel Brown, who teamed up for almost 150 yards rushing against Virginia Tech last week. Quarterback I'm not the biggest fan of, but you have to give him credit. He played well on the road in a tough place against a solid team. And Ethan Kaliakmanis and Virginia Tech struggled there defensively. Pass defense, run defense, both of those areas got chewed up a little bit in that game. And we can continue to see inconsistency from Kyron Drones. I'll be honest, I'm disappointed the way he's played so far. I thought he would take a step. He's the one that got Virginia Tech going last year after a sluggish start, and they made the quarterback change. He's just not been accurate enough with the ball. He's only completing 59.8% of his passes this year. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, so the decision-making has been dubious at times. You know, the good news is Tutton, the running back, 122 rushing yards. He's been solid. They have had a good run game, and Drones does have the ability to run as well, dual threat. But he's got to simply get better throwing the football, more consistent, more accurate. And that's definitely been a little bit of an issue for him so far. Very, very reluctant to step in front of Miami again after doing so last week with South Florida. That much I can tell you. But at some point, Miami, I think, might have one of those games where, keep in mind, South Florida is probably the best team they've played so far. They played Ball State, Florida, A&M, Florida. Virginia Tech's probably the next best team they've played. And the one thing you have to say about Virginia Tech is this is the point spread role we kind of like them in when they're getting big double-digit numbers like this. But boy, oh boy, I'm telling you what, I don't know if I've seen enough in the offense. People are seeing just how incredible this Miami team is. It's a Friday night game. You can't imagine Miami's going to be flat for this game. It's a Friday night ACC conference home game. You play at Cal and you have I believe do they have a bye week? No, they don't. They play at Cal next week. So it's not a huge look ahead here for Miami after this game. I don't think I want to go against Miami again. Not after last week, after seeing what they've done. Miami team total over maybe because, look, when Virginia Tech's given up 26 at home to Rutgers, that's concerning now when you got to face Miami. So I don't know if I'll bet the game. If you like Miami, I think the better look is probably the team total over at this point. You keep your defense out of you don't have to worry about what they do or what they do not do defensively, especially now because this number opened 16.5. It's now up to 18.5, 19. So you're not getting as good of a number right now with Miami. I would probably look more team total here in this game with the Miami Hurricanes. I've seen enough. I saw enough now after that South Florida game to say I'm not rushing to step in front of Miami again. So it's one of these games where, like I said, I'm not going to be involved in it from a point spread perspective, but I could see Miami hitting their team total over in that game on Friday night. All right.